Yeah.
Back
Back at it.
Back at it like a good habit.
Great snack habit.
Like a great habit. What, yeah, we
With
just.
my coldest coffee mug, y'all just don't know. I've been wanting this mug for the longest, and I have one. So good.
Right. We just came back from, you know how you just have to get out, man. You try to get out the house, boy, get something to eat and get away from here. You know what I'm saying?
Just doing something spontaneous that we don't do because we stay so focused on the grind. But I was the one that wanted to do something spontaneous for a while. It's typically him. If you want spontaneity in our relationship and marriage, it's usually always 99.9% of the time, it's going to be him. But this time, the 0.1% was me.
Yeah.
And it was great. I'm glad we did it. And we got to let us know that we have to continue to put money in our entertainment budget so we can do that more often.
That's true. That's true. Getting out of the house be so refreshing, you know.
Energy.
You have to get out and do stuff.
Life. Let's go. But what we got?
All right. So I hope this is actually him and not a video made and just commenting on it. I hope it's actually him, but it's Thomas Sowell educates liberal presenter in heated debate. So I hope it's him debating. I hope it's like a real scene, like him debating.
I don't think they would stand a chance against a Thomas Sowell
No,
in a true, real debate. He's gonna crush him.
He would eat you up when it comes to the historical data.
All day. 3,000. Let's go, Thomas.
Now, why would a group of liberal intellectuals or politicians or media stars or whatever, why would they sit around and decide to dismember or dilute the criminal justice system if they thought in advance that it would raise the amount of criminality?
Oh, they didn't think that, but the point is...
They just thought wrongly that it would help.
Yes, but it would also give them an enormously larger role than they had before. I mean, a judge who just sits there and applies the laws that have been passed by the legislature has a very minor role. But if he takes the expansive judicial activist role, then of course he's on the leading edge, and he can look for the hosannas and all the rest of it from the sideline.
How does this play out in the realm of something else you have written about, which is affirmative action?
Exactly.
How does that process? What's the 1, 2, 3, 4 on that?
I haven't worked it out like that, but certainly there is no interest whatever in finding out empirically whether things have been made better or worse for minorities as a result of this program. And in fact, if you bring them up evidence, they'll say, but things would have been even worse had we not done this. Similarly with the war on poverty, you can show how dependency on government was going down, poverty was going down before this program was ever put in. And within a few years, dependence on government was going up, and after a few more years, the absolute number of people in poverty was going up.
Yeah, I read that in your book, but the absolute number of poverty is not the relevant data. The relevant data would be the rate of poverty. And the rate of poverty, in fact, in the 1970s, I worked for President Johnson, so we have to establish there. You know, so I mean, the line we took was that during the 1960s, during the Kennedy-Johnson administration, poverty did in fact go down sharply. And then the rate since then, not the absolute number because the country has grown larger, the rate has sort of bounced around at about flat, somewhere between 12 and 15%.
Yes, but don't forget, this was sold to the country not on the grounds that if you transferred money from A to B, that B would have more money. That was not the argument. The argument was that dependency would be reduced, that you would, quote, invest in people, as Bill Clinton is now saying, now that people have forgotten what was said in the 60s. This will then, you give them job training and all those kinds of things, parenting skills, the whole bit. And this will then be an investment that will pay off in the future because there'll be fewer people dependent upon the government than there were before. And I go through a great number of people from John F. Kennedy to Lyndon Johnson, the New York Times, again, all the usual suspects. Said all these things.
Lyndon Johnson was not a usual suspect, Tom.
Well, he was the primary suspect. All right. But the fact is that was never tested. And when there were all these wonderful retrospectives held out in Texas and other places about this, the first order of business is to evade the criterion that they themselves set up when they set this out. And so no matter what happens, if it's a failure by the original criterion, then we just find another criterion by which it will be a success.
Well, let's just examine that for a minute. I have a friend of mine from those old White House days was listening to, again, Gingrich shortly after we had this great Republican revolution in 1994. A great meaning huge, not necessarily wonderful. We shall see about that. And he kept hearing Newt Gingrich use the word opportunity. Conservative opportunity society, we have to provide opportunity. And I was talking to him, he said, you know, Gingrich uses that word opportunity almost as much as Johnson did, which is what you're saying. That was the rhetoric. It was called the OEO, was the Office of Economic Opportunity. Yes. That's what it was. Now, so if liberals were talking about opportunity, and now conservatives are talking about opportunity, and I'm sure you're for opportunity.
All God's children got opportunity.
All God's children got opportunity.
That's right.
So what is your problem that liberals said we ought to create programs for opportunity? And in point of fact, I mean, just to, I won't say play devil's advocate, because I mean, a lot of the things that came out of the Great Society, I mean, building all those junior colleges and community colleges.
Oh, I would disagree entirely. I think that was a tragedy of the first magnitude.
That was a tragedy.
Yes.
Why is that a tragedy?
You have millions of people who have absolutely no desire for an education, using up billions of dollars of the taxpayers' money, and not only not getting an education themselves, making it more difficult to give an education to those people who came to college with an idea of getting one.
Now, you say they have no desire for an education. I mean, nobody is herding them into these community colleges and into the junior colleges and into the state university. I mean, they have a desire, obviously.
No, they do not, obviously, because lots of things go on in those places that are not education. I mean, where else can you find so many young people of the same age and opposite sex in one place? A nice, convenient place to be. But anyone who is taught in these, in a lot of these places, this ferocious desire for education as such is not terribly visible. And I taught at places where we've gotten, you know, the upper 10, 15% of students. I mean, UCLA and whatnot. Neither I nor my colleagues found this great desire for education as such. They wanted to be in ivy-covered buildings for 4 years in order to get more money when they graduate and have a good time while they're there.
Okay. There you go.
You know, it's not the desire for education. It's
the lifestyle.
It's the lifestyle. It's the prestige that I went here and I'll get more money guaranteed because I went to Cornell, I went to Princeton, I went to Stanford,
right,
UCLA.
And where do you have? He said like minds in one environment, heterosexuals that are Let's go. I love it.
I'm in the education system. Folks in there ain't just excited about school. They're excited about what's going to happen after school is over. They ain't excited about what the education they're getting at the moment.
So you think the great American ideal, which has really been shared by both parties and both ideologies over recent decades, to allow more people to get into higher education, that is a bankrupt idea?
Oh, to allow is one thing, but to subsidize people at enormous cost with no real sign that this is producing what we intend to produce.
When you say subsidize, I mean, you talk about a junior college, a community college. I guess that's subsidized. It's below cost tuition, but it does allow kids who do not have the money to go to Amherst or wherever to start a college education. I mean,
people did that before the Great Society. I did it before the Great Society. My whole generation did it before the Great Society.
Plus, when you go to a 2-year college, because I'm a 2-year college grad, truthful. When you go to a 2-year college and you finish and you say, and more than likely, the wise choice, go to a 2-year college that allows transferable credits if you're trying to go to a 4-year education versus going to a 2-year college and start a 4-year education. If you're going to do that, go to a 2-year college, get all that experience, get all that goofiness out the way, just being in school, and then you transfer over and finish the last 2 years in a major school with less debt. But that's a smart way of doing it. But yeah, 2-year college ain't nothing wrong with 2-year college. Man, I know some people that make way more money that went 2-year college than they did 4-year.
You are saying that the great...
You don't even need school no more. I'm just sorry. You don't even need to go to college
Depends
no more.
on what you want to do.
You're going to be a doctor, lawyer,
professional people who want to work in servicing people, doctor, lawyer, even
the stuff that you have
computer programmers, engineers.
There's only about let's be real. There's maybe 5 to 7 mandatory. You have to go to education. The rest of that stuff,
It depends on what it is you want to do.
Like I think Brian Logan said, yeah, you go to underwater basket weaving degree.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm just talking about people who still want to work in professional or those fields that require higher level training. Like
But
doctor,
those are the ones
lawyers,
that are mandatory. But that's not the majority of the education.
Pharmacists, engineers, computer technology. Somebody want to work for a company, a high tech person. They're not just gonna have to YouTube degree ain't gonna get it.
Not true. You get what you can do. You can go to a 2-year college and get everything from certifications.
You still going to a 2-year? I didn't say 4-year. I said higher education. 2 years still higher education. So yeah, 2 years it. I didn't say you had to go to a 4-year, but some of these institutions still want to see some certificate degree to say that you got these number of hours or this amount of training at a education level outside of high school in this area.
Humanitarian political impulses of the 1960s have been almost without exception bad.
Well, there have been some good ones, but I'm saying that the assumption that on the education front, I mean, I would defy you to find a large number of people who've actually taught these students who really think that they're out there thirsting for knowledge.
Well, if you suppose they are thirsting for a better job, and we've set up a society where you have to be credentialed with a certain amount of college, so aren't they able to get a better job?
Pre-internet.
This is the fallacy of composition. If one person stands up in the stadium, he sees the game better. But if they all stand up, they don't all see the game better.
Right.
As long as if you have a degree and the other guy doesn't, then you get ahead of him in the employment line. But we're not going to all get ahead of each other in the employment line by all getting degrees.
That's right. That's right.
This whole idea that I guess,
and usually the person that did not get a degree says, "Forget this. I'm about to create my own company," and then you go hire the people with the degrees.
So I was just about to say, if I had really truly understood what entrepreneurship was and what that meant, and had a clear understanding of social media, because there was no social media in my time when I was first in the rap game, I would have not gone to college.
Absolutely. I would have wasted 2 seconds.
My dad would have been okay with me not going to college as long as I would have had a job to help generate some income for myself and still work on that thing. He wouldn't have forced me to go to college. He said either you go to college or you're going to get a job.
Yeah.
So
mine was college,
but
job,
his
or
view
military.
was that you go to college, you have a chance of getting a higher paying job than a non-college, because that's how he grew up and that's what was going on.
A lot of people, that was the thinking.
Yeah, that was the thinking.
Pre-internet thinking.
During their time.
Yeah.
But with the idea of entrepreneurship and the mindset that I've had, I would not have gone to college at all. And I probably would not even have gone to grad school if I had had the knowledge now as to what, but it's still like, in entrepreneurship, I would have hired out for the people in the areas that I wanted to. But I like to know the information also for myself. But yeah, still.
Yep.
Yep.
Entrepreneurship is to employ the people that went and got a good education.
And you don't, pretty much, yeah, because quite a few of your multimillionaires and billionaires have no college background whatsoever. And many of them don't even have high school diplomas. So what does that say?
They grind it.
Nevertheless, I still feel, though, higher education is relative for those people who want to go in areas where you need higher level training to serve whatever population that you're serving. The medical field is one. Law, banking.
I'm gonna say I'm truthful on this. And this is what I feel. I feel like the biggest waste of money degree was marketing. You spend all that money to go to school to learn a marketing when you really could just go ahead. It's so easy to learn how to be a marketer versus you spend all that money for marketing. Everybody I know who marketed, who went in marketing, they totally did the other stuff.
Well, I don't know.
Because what were you marketing?
I don't know. I don't know.
Remember them the degrees that you were supposed to go to school for? They were like the popular stuff. Marketing.
I don't know. Well, now you have
Business.
Social media marketing. I don't know. Social media wasn't around when your original marketing degrees came out.
Yeah.
Now, when social media came, it changed the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm all for, man, Andrew Tate, man, with the CobraTate.com education. And because you get up and you learn everything you need to know by joining somebody's group versus you spend thousands of dollars in education and all that time for something you're gonna make money instantly, whereas it take you forever, and now you in a rat race with everybody else trying to get a job. I just that's the driest way to me, because I've been there, done that, and I know in the end that's not truly what'll make you happy.
I just still feel like there's certain
I'm not for it. And I work in education. I work for the school system.
I still feel like that it's relative. Universities are still relative for people who those degrees
like you named
necessary
I'm
and
not
required.
The requireds.
You don't want no medical doctor working on you.
Listen, you still going back. You're going back on the opposite of what I'm saying.
No, I hear what you're saying.
I agree with
exactly.
you saying that certain degrees are mandatory. Yes, I need a doctor that has gone through the entire process.
Mm-hmm.
But you ain't got to go to school for business or marketing no more.
No.
But let's go. But
yeah,
you can't get a YouTube doctor's degree. You be a foot doctor from YouTube. I don't think they can do it.
Up under the jail.
You don't know about that, but you have a lot of malpractice lawsuits.
In this country, you would.
Liberals and conservatives are saying is that at this particular moment, 1995, we have to get more people into the education system because that's the way to compete. And we look at the data and we see that the people with more education are earning more money than ever before relative to the people with less education. That's all a fallacy of everybody standing up in the stadium.
People who fly on the Concorde, kids who've flown on the Concorde undoubtedly will make more money than kids who've only gone on buses. That does not mean if we put a lot of people on the Concorde, we're going to raise the national income.
Get them, Thomas.
It would increase the revenues of the Concorde.
Yes, and which they desperately need, of course. Right. But that's another story.
All right, now, and just to review the bit.
I like it. I like how he's like, I hear you, but no, that ain't it.
Has won the Cold War.
Okay.
Remained while a lot of people, including mostly conservatives, were saying, "Oh, America's lost its nerve," and because we're
I don't think that was mostly conservatives.
Well, I recall an issue of the public interest in the mid-1970s saying, "Has America lost its nerve?" A whole bunch of conservatives saying, "Oh my God, it's terrible."
This is Jimmy Carter's era.
Well, maybe that's right. Since this terrible event 30 years ago, when the '60s dropped upon us, we've won the Cold War. We've continued to grow in affluence, in professional skills. We have absorbed about 20 million immigrants. We are the wealthiest, freest country in the history of the world. You would agree with all of that, roughly.
Well, I disagree entirely with your base period.
It's your base period. You established in 1960.
I'm saying all those things that you talk about began long before the 1960s. They faltered to a great extent under Jimmy Carter. They were resumed with renewed vigor in the 1980s under an entirely different kind of vision. But I'm talking about the social decline of the country, because the social decline is all the more striking because here is a country that is prosperous. You can't blame the crime rate on the fact that there's more poverty. There's less poverty. There's more affluence. It's not due to foreigners because, as you say, we've won the Cold War. All the normal things that you might blame all this on aren't there. It's not because of diseases, because science has conquered more diseases. It's all because of self-inflicted wounds. And I'm saying these are the people who inflicted those wounds, and this is why we shouldn't listen to them anymore.
What are the nature of those wounds?
Crime.
No.
The disintegration of the family. The disintegration of the education system. And it's not going to matter. We'll be like the man who gained the whole world and lost his soul.
Is there a common root to all of those problems, other than you heard them from the anointed class? I mean, is there something? Is it big government? Is it big government? Is that what?
No. It's the notion that ordinary people cannot be trusted to make the decisions that they've been making, but these must be preempted either by judges in the case of crime, by the schools taking over the indoctrination of other people's children behind their back and against their protests, or what was the other one? The family, taking money from the taxpayers, subsidizing behavior, as well as encouraging it and legitimizing behavior that has turned out to be enormously self-destructive. undermining the family in 1,000 different ways.
Tom, you write in your new book, The Vision of the Anointed, available at all bookstores, about the Teflon prophets.
Yes.
What is?
Well,
that's a hard name right there. The Teflon prophets.
Yeah, let's hear what he got to say about that.
my favorite is Paul Ehrlich, because he's been so consistently wrong on so many things. One, predicting mass starvation, I think it was the 70s or the 80s, but predicting that we're running out of, running low on resources. And Julian Simon made this famous bet with him. He would offer to bet anybody $1,000 that they could name a set of resources and name a period of time. And at the end of that period of time, those resources would not be more expensive, as they would be if they were really running low, but would be either stationary or falling in real terms. And Ehrlich rushed in with his list of 10 resources, and he decided we'd come back at the end of 10 years. At the end of 10 years, not only was the bundle of 10 resources cheaper in real terms than it was before, every single resource he named was cheaper.
Let me raise a final point here. You make this vigorous attack in The Vision of the Anointed that we should no longer listen to these.
I'm assuming the anointed are the elite people. Is that the anointed?
I don't know.
It's got to be
I kind of want to hear what he was
the
going to
anointed
say.
are the elitists.
I'm not sure. Sounds like it, but I don't know.
That's sort of the debate. They've been wrong. They don't prove their points. It's hurt us. Who should we listen to?
We should listen first and foremost to our own experience. You seem to act as if there must be alternative saviors. We should stop looking for saviors. I mean, the society has not existed for thousands of years because it had a succession of saviors.
Right.
It's existed because it has institutions and processes through which people can realize their own goals.
No, I understand that, but you are attacking people who would like to lead us and tell us how the world works.
No, they don't want to tell us how the world works. They want to take over the decision for us. They don't tell the parents how they ought to teach sex education to their children. They put this material in the schools behind the backs of the parents with instructions not to let the parents see it.
Okay, but
that's the problem.
But we live in an open and democratic society now. Mr. and Mrs. John Q. Public are listening to this program, I hope, and they're saying, boy, that guy really makes a lot of sense. But basically, it's been a negative proposition. Don't listen to these people. Don't do this. Don't do that.
No. Don't let those people run your life.
Okay, but how do you practically?
I think it's a non-problem, Ben.
No, but how do you?
Non-problem. Those people are adults just like you and me.
Okay,
they have been running their lives for thousands of years. They don't need me to tell them what to do.
But this is
It's not a question I want to take over from people on the left.
No, but
I want them to continue to make their decisions as they see fit.
Right. But this is a democracy. They have to vote.
Even in a democracy, they can live their lives as they see fit.
Who should they vote for?
Oh, good heavens! They've been voting for whoever they wanted to without my help for 200 years.
But some of these people are voting for the people who are listening to these anointed people. I mean, give my audience some advice. Tell them what to do.
Last year in 1994, without any help from me whatsoever, they changed who they voted for. So it's a non-problem.
You say without any help to you, but you and your confreres in the conservative movement, I think, have had an influence
but it wasn't because of this book, obviously.
Yeah, I like the fact that he said about it being in a democracy. So if that's in a democracy, then he's right. I mean, I agree with the fact that parents should have the right to speak up as to what type of resources they want their kids to learn in school, especially when it comes to sex education. If they don't have any say over the math and reading and language arts, science, social studies curriculum, then they should definitely at least have an opinion and a voice on when it comes to other books that are non-required based by the superintendent or school district, like what the leisure reading material should be, what other resources they have in the library for kids to check out, as well as any books dealing with sex and religion should definitely be something that parents have a voice in.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, I know that there's so many different beliefs out there, but there may not be a happy medium as to religious, but when it comes back to sex, then okay, take religion out. But sex specifically, for sure, parents should definitely have a right to say, no, my kid is not going to be learning this in your institution, and you don't have the right to teach this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed that
if this is a democracy.
I can see how it's tough for kids when it comes to that topic, because now everything, when you're filling out stuff online, it's asking you, are you this, now are you this, that, this. Mm-hmm. So I already know in school and education, they want you to already learn about that, because that's what's being put out there in the market now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably being forced. But no, definitely parents should have a hand in that. Yeah, like I don't know about when it comes. I mean, years ago it was in religion, but now that's not. But definitely in the sexual part. But
yeah, this was good.
That was really good.
And I liked how Thomas Sowell was saying, no, we don't need to tell people how they need to run their lives and certain things that they need to do. No, these are the decisions that they, as a whole community or as a family, need to come, or as an individual, need to come up and determine, for themselves.
As a family, like you
as
said.
He was standing his ground, on that, like, no.
Because I believe, like you said, the family makes the ultimate decision. You learn these values and you learn these things from the family. Education should not be Education should not be raising your kids. They should be giving them new concepts, ideas, and things to learn. But the family needs to raise the child.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's where a lot of confusion gets on, because the family ain't really raising the child. They want the teacher to teach everything.
Well, it's so much going on in regards to some of the values, even, dealing with the family of what the views don't always line up with other families' views or the educational views. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
All right. It's dope. It's another Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell educates liberal presenter in heated debate, and he did. But it was heated, but it wasn't like ridiculous. It was like they were just, All right. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't take a nosedive, but comment down in the section below if you want some more.
Love you guys. See you in the next video. 75K. Let's go. Here we go. Go to Buy Me a Coffee. We got content over there. And go to Sleepy Red TV and subscribe to that channel as well. Let's go. Love you guys. And we're doing a giveaway.
Eventually.
No, we're doing a giveaway right now with Curtis Water.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Y'all got to come out and check us out at the location. Maybe we'll drop a location and let them know we're doing giveaways out there. That's different.
For all my California people. SoCal.
Let us know.
For sure. All right.